Hello everyone, this is Lorenzo Cervantes from Connecticut Eye Specialists in Shelton, Connecticut. As mentioned in the case description, this unfortunate man was complaining of triplopia from his right eye due to the remnants of an explanted Crystalens that were in his visual axis. After the optic of the Crystalens was removed and a 3-piece lens placed in the sulcus, the bag was essentially empty, leading to unchecked capsular contraction and fibrosis. This overlay shows just how far the inferior haptic has migrated. Despite all of this, the patient's uncorrected visual acuity was 20/25, so we know at least that the sulcus intraocular lens is roughly the correct power. We decided that we would try to remove the sulcus IOL to gain access to the bag, free up and explant the remnant Crystalens haptics, and stabilize the capsular bag with something inside of it, like an IOL or capsular tension ring. Should this prove to be too Herculean an effort, we would scrap the whole IOL capsular complex and perform intrascleral haptic fixation. The case started out pretty routine, and I quickly realized that the sulcus IOL didn't really hinder access to the bag at all. So we decided to leave it there for now. No need to cut it out, especially if it's clear and working. So far, so good. Dispersive viscoelastic is our best friend in situations like this. With plenty of it, and with a lot of patience, we were able to viscodissect the inferior haptic from its adhesions and set it free. We're still set to save the bag. The thick, leathery texture of the capsule indicates the fibrotic reaction that has caused the problems at hand, but it also provides durability, allowing us to perform all these intracapsular maneuvers. The superior haptic proved to be more stubborn than the first. Rather than scrap the bag here, cutting the piece as peripheral as possible to clear the visual axis was just as acceptable. In an effort to reduce zonular stress and retain capsular support of a sulcus IOL, various capsular tension ring methods were attempted. Frustratingly, the equatorial capsular adhesions prevented placement of the ring. Fearing further capsular contraction from an empty bag, optic capture of the lens in the anterior axis was attempted, but failed due to a small aperture. Rather than risk further contraction or subluxation of the IOL due to potential zonular defects, small radial relaxing incisions were made at the capsular axis, accomplishing the ability to perform optic capture of the lens and prevention of further anterior capsular phimosis. The haptics remain in the sulcus while the optic is tucked behind the anterior capsule. Mission accomplished. The bag has been saved. Postoperatively, the optic captured IOL is centered and stable. The anterior capsular leaflets can be seen here, anterior to the lens optic, confirming optic capture of the lens. A YAG posterior capsulotomy was performed at 1 month, demonstrating and relieving the stress on the zonules. Two weeks after the capsulotomy, the patient's uncorrected visual acuity was remarkably 20/20. The IOL remains centered and captured in the bag. Because of the anterior capsular relaxing incisions and posterior capsulotomy, zonular, patient, and surgeon stress all have been alleviated. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for your consideration.